Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Trenton 365, which is Civic Engagement Radio. Make sure you go over to the website, Trenton365.com. There you can see a bunch of the things that I'm doing, not only with radio and TV, but also with civic engagement, the involvement in the health community, mental health, cannabis, also civics, the work that I'm doing with as a member and a leading elder at Westminster Presbyterian Church, documenting the artists. And when I talk about artists, I'm talking about visual artists, performing artists, architecture. There's a lot of art that's going on in the world, and I think we oftentimes forget about it. And that's why I'm always excited to bring on my friends who are artists, not only in their own right, but in their daytime jobs. I've got Brad Marquis here. Not only is Brad Marquis an amazing performer and well known for the work that he does there, but he is very active in the city where he lives in Trenton, working as the executive director of the Trenton Circus Squad. Now, Brad's going to talk just a little bit about what the Trenton Circus Squad is for those of you who don't know that Trenton's got a circus squad, and all the details about it being free and all those things. But we really want to talk about the importance of fundraising for this organization and for the work that they're doing, not only with the city of Trenton, but they travel across the country doing performing arts and circus arts. But we're going to have Brad talk about all that. Brad, yes. Welcome back, man. So nice to see you.
Thank you for having me, man. Always a pleasure to be on and to see you, brother.
Awesome. Now, I can see in the background the beautiful, lovely brick of the space where you are. Yes. Let's talk about, folks, introduce yourself again, or reintroduce yourself, and then share about this facility where the Trenton Circus Squad is, and then let's roll into talking about the Circus Squad and this amazing fundraiser that's been going on for several years.
Yeah, man.
Step right up.
Step right up. We here. Well, I am Brad Marquis Jackson, Jackson at the day job, Marquis, when I'm doing my artist thing. I am the director of operations over here, not quite the executive director yet, but your mouth, God's ears, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. Speak it over me, man.
Amen.
Yeah, we're here at Trenton Circus Squad. We do social and emotional learning through the art of circus. So what it is kids come through after school. We're an after school program. It's free to everybody from the ages of 12 through 18. They can join. We do workshops for youth ages 6 through 11. So we will partner with like CYO, Boys and Girls Club, all the other youth institutions throughout the city of Trenton and beyond, and they come to our factory after school for about an hour and a half, and our youth who are part of the squad, 12 to 18-year-olds, they actually teach these youth circus skills. So we have 7 or 8 stations set up, from aerials to tight wire to acrobatics, juggling, unicycling. So we set up all of these stations, and our kids, they rotate the youth, and they get an opportunity to get their feet wet in learning these circus skills. And when they turn 12, they can come and join the program for free and pay it forward the same way, the 12 through 18-year-olds do. We actually now, since COVID, we had to change our model a little bit, and a lot of it. We did a lot of virtual stuff through COVID, as everybody else did, with virtual workshops, and even our fundraisers were virtual. And we also kicked up our in school when COVID came back. Folks are not as open to traveling as many places with groups, so we started going in school to actually do our circus workshops with schools from Trenton to Princeton, from Rivera to Princeton French School. So that's what we've been operating in that way. We've had the opportunity to hire junior coaches. Junior coaches are individuals who have graduated our program, but they're not yet going to school, in college, or maybe they are in college, but, still need a part-time job. So they come back here and they work for us. And we actually hired a full-time coach who actually transitioned we've been around for coming up on 6 years. And so our guy, Cordell Garland, he's actually been with us since our pilot program, and now he is a coach here, working full-time, coach, benefits and all. So, we've created a track from, actually just being from workshops all the way to actually employee of the organization, as an opportunity to give back to the community and continue to grow, this amazing social and emotional program, because that's exactly what it does. It helps youth, build themselves up inside out, and create friendships and relationships that are lasting, and bonds that are lasting, that will help them socially throughout, hopefully throughout their life.
Brad, I want to jump in there, man, because over the years in my involvement with the Circus Squad, it's wow, 6 years. I can't believe it's been that long. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like just yesterday that I was having the conversations with Tom and
And
Zoe
so,
about
yeah.
wow. So it's 6 years. So kudos to the organization. You also said something else, man, that really struck me was the social and the emotional
Mhm,
portion of what the Circus Squad does.
mhm.
Um, can you elaborate on that? Because sometimes I think people think children's programs, okay, they just let the kids go ahead and run wild, and there's a little bit of programming, but they don't realize that there's a lot more built into programs now, where there's a mental health component to it, there's a social component, et cetera. Can you just talk about that?
Absolutely. We a lot of times, most times, get youth who don't fit in other places. Whether they have circus skills or not. A lot of times kids come here for to congregate, as an after school program, to build relationships, to find people of like-minded elk. And there's with us, it's just, we get, I don't want to say, we just get different individuals, let's put it that way, who may not have fit in at school or fit in other social groups, and they come here and they find their niche, they find their voice, they find their personality, their identity, or an identity, that they can grow from. And that's what the program is about. It's about, to perform these elaborate circus acts, one, you have to learn, you have to be taught, and then you have to it's a lot of teamwork involved. And so that involves a lot of communication, that involves a lot of planning, and it involves a lot of just coming out of your own shell, to socialize or to be able to build these things. And so it's just amazing to see youth who, like, I've known youth who've been sent here from JJC, youth who've been sent here from programs that, mental health programs, and where they just didn't fit in. And they're just blossoming here and turning into pure leaders, where now they come in, being shy and standoffish, and now they're leading, they're leading these circus acts, calling out movements, calling out, what the motions are going to be. And now they're teaching other youth, how to do these things, and pulling other youth out of their shell, and, creating relationships. So it's amazing to see it happen every day, honestly.
You
Because
know,
some of these kids when they get here, you don't know. You're like, oh man, this is going to be, and then something clicks. One day something just clicks. And then next thing you know, you know, they're I don't say ordering people around, but they're leading, what's happening here. Taking ownership of the space, and taking ownership of what's happening in this building.
great. And I want you to talk a bit more about the peer leadership, because I've been able to see how, and you alluded to this, how once students kind of age out of the actual programming,
Mhm.
they want to come back. They
They
want to
don't
come
leave.
back and assist, and they want to help, and they want a job. So like, there's also a social and economic component to what the
Yes.
Circus Squad is doing as well. Can we just touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, and that started happening maybe a year or two ago. I can't remember. I think our first junior coach was about 2 years ago, when our coaches started aging out. But we needed, as our program expands, we need staff. So we've already trained these youth. It's kind of hard. We can go out and hire, circus coaches and from other areas, but they don't look like the people who are going to be coaching here in Trenton, New Jersey. So, the best model was to hire the youth who have come through the program. They knew what they built the program. This program, their vibe, the energy is the imprint of what this program. So they knew all about it. This program is family. The people are family. They become family. They trust what's going on here. And so, and they're always here anyway. So might as well pay them and put them to work. And, as we do our outreach sessions, as we, partner with other organizations, as we do our in-school sessions, these types of things can't be done with youth who are still in school from, 7 to 3 in the afternoon. So it behooves us to hire the individuals who know about the program, and they may or may not be doing a lot of things after they graduate, but this gives them some type of platform to put some money in their pocket and to figure out what they want to do and to springboard them into the next thing.
Yep. And Brad, I think a lot of folks who help fund and support organizations don't realize that little component. Like, okay, well, if we have these children and the programming goes up to 18, there's going to be some youth who may not be ready to move on, who want to stay and can assist. And I appreciate the fact that the Trenton Circus Squad has developed and pivoted the model to say, no, we're going to keep them in the family and have them continue to teach others, because that also frees up you and the other leadership to do other things, because now you are employing someone to do all those, like, not necessarily remedial things, but the other things, so that you can focus on something else.
But it's that, and it's actually one of the most important parts, because representation matters. And when we're going out here into these schools and they see people, young people who do circus that, they look like them, there's young Black women or young Hispanic women or young Hispanic, men or young Black men, they're going into these schools, and they're, you got a 13, 14-year-old, and then you have an 18, 19-year-old, and they're like, oh my goodness, he's making circus look cool, And so when you think circus, a lot of times you think, white or Asian or what have you. When you go to see these circus shows, you don't see a lot of Black performers, unless you go to specifically Black circus,
Exactly.
But you don't see just generally a lot of Black performers, So I've noticed that when these youth and they see these, our kids, whether we're in Camden or Newark or Asbury Park or wherever we, Chicago, wherever we go, we stand out, because the other circus programs, social circus programs that we partner with, they do not have a large, Black and brown population, and
when we think about even education, how there's not a lot of full representation. It's not equal, the representation of who the teachers are, who the administrators are, et cetera. It's good that a program that partners with schools can also present an opportunity for people to look like each other, to get education, to get direction, to get chastisement, even, all those things really
direction and redirection.
Yeah, I like that better. Direction and redirection. You talked about schools, right? And how much Trenton Circus Squad is doing and has done with schools, going into schools, doing performances at schools, et cetera. What are some of the other partnering organizations? And I know you probably have a list of a lot, but in particular, the ones right now that stand out, who are some of those organizations?
Well, like I stated before, our largest one right now is Boys and Girls Club. And, we've kind of been each other's lifeblood through the pandemic, because they still had their population, and they flipped virtual. And when they flipped virtual, we were already ahead of the game, and we were able to accommodate their programming. So even though their youth couldn't come to us, we could still, provide a service to them. We started, and that was in all county. That was in, like I said, that was in Newark, that was in Asbury Park, that was in Camden, that was in Trenton.
So this is like a statewide partnership.
Statewide thing. Yeah, we are a statewide arts organization at this point. 2 years ago, we became a statewide arts organization. But, we've serviced the whole, pretty much the whole state of New Jersey, Boys and Girls Club, with our virtual programming. And now that we've opened up during the summer, we go to these places for the residencies, which we've done this year. We do week residencies in each of these places during the summer. So we take our youth, we set up shop in Newark and Asbury Park and Camden, and we do week-long residencies where we teach their community, and hopefully we're recruiting them, because when we start to go out next year, we want to start actually finding youth that we can hire in their community during the summer to help us grow the program, because we got some big things coming up, and that'll be laid out a little bit more on this fundraiser, because we just recently purchased a big top tent for the program.
Yeah. So no more renting those, right?
No more renting them.
Yeah.
No, we got a donation from one of our sponsors or what have you, and she gave us a whole lot of money to purchase our own tent. And that's going to change the whole program, as far as what we're able to do in these communities. And, when you step into a community with a big top tent, that's just, that's a we're here kind of thing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
that's a we're here. Like, hey,
Yeah.
that's not we're in a, that's not putting a sign up over the YMCA. No, you putting a whole, big top tent. Like, hey, that's like Circus Olay showing up in your hood. Like,
We're going on tour.
We're going
on
on
tour. We got roadies and everything. We're
Hey,
setting it all up.
we got everything. We got vendors. We got everything. And we put a lot of people to work. This is hopefully bring, money in everybody's way, in all of these communities, because obviously we're going to have to hire vendors and individuals to help, raise a tent, put it down, and operate all the things that's going on around it. Because it's a lot that goes, lights and sound and staging and, just all the way down to portable toilets. It's just a lot of opportunity for these communities to, generate some income.
That's great. It's awesome to see the evolution. And I want to publicly say thank you to the Circus Squad for having me be the announcer, the host, and things for many of the events that took place in person
before I got here.
Yeah. That's the way it is, man. When you're old enough, you kind of hang around. You just kind of you just around. You're like a little fixture in a corner. But I want you to talk about the new version of Step Right Up, and that it's virtual and what it looks like. And just make that pitch for the folks who now know about Trenton Circus Squad. Yeah. They've seen it around. Let's make that big pitch, and let's talk about Step Right Up and the virtual fundraiser.
Okay, well, Step Right Up is our annual flagship fundraiser. We have 2 a year. I got here and created one called Get On Down, which normally happens in the spring, around March 28th. It normally happens, but our big, blow it out the wind, blow it in the wind kind of fundraiser is Step Right Up. This year, I mean, obviously it's virtual this year. We're going to have a select few, for studio audience, but it's been virtual last couple of years, and that's basically due to COVID. I mean, we had to keep the doors open, and we still had to, generate income because, like I said, the program is free. All of our funds comes from, private donors, sponsors, and government funds. So, this fundraiser is just normally we would get a chunk of that money for the year. So we couldn't shut it down. So we just had to pivot like everybody else.
Yep.
And we're still in that pivot because we're still in COVID, so, but this year, we've over the last couple of years, last year and this year, because of a lot of the social unrest and a lot of things that's been going on around, George Floyd's and everything else that we all know about. Our kids wanted to do something. They were inspired to do something and wanted to have their voice heard. So last year they came up with a contemporary circus performance called Change, and it was different from anything we had ever done. Normally we just, we put together acts and we perform acts, and everything was beautiful and great, and it's just amazing to see these young people do such amazing things. But last year they wanted more. They wanted more depth. So they spent the summertime, because we were all virtual. Everybody was home, and we connected virtually over Zoom. And, a lot of these social justice discussions came up. So when the building opened back up and everybody came back, the conversations didn't stop. They actually grew and they continued because, everything was still fresh and just all around us. So the kids kept the conversations going, and they wanted to do something. So they did a contemporary circus show called Change, centered around social justice, and, hoping to not only hear their voice heard, but, offer up ways of change, like give a history lesson, but also we would like to see these things changed. And so the performance was amazing, and it turned into social justice conversations, so we would send the video out to organizations, Princeton, organizations in Princeton University. We've literally sent it across the country to colleges across the country, and we've had dialogue with, within the members of those students from those colleges. We've had dialogue with board members. We've had dialogue with city officials. We have dialogue with city police, And we've just talked about what's been happening in our community and changes we'd like to see in the community. I facilitated most of these conversations, but our youth were the ones that we tried to encourage to lead them and to have their voices heard. So, I may present the questions or what have you and keep the conversation going, but I really wanted them to just be heard and be able to get the information they were looking to get from the city officials, politicians, or just have dialogue amongst, one another, so they can figure out what can they do in their own particular community, and hopefully enlighten other people who may know nothing about what's going on or even care about what's going on or have a different perspective of what's going, hear their perspective, offer their, and offer their own perspective, and come to some type of hopefully conclusion on what everybody can do collectively to bring about change, not only in our community, but in theirs, because the change has to come from communities outside of the Black community in order to affect the Black community. Thoughts have to change, hearts have to change. And this was our way for our youth to get their voices out there and to be heard and to be seen. So that's what we did all year long. Like I said, we've partnered with all kinds of, from Mill Hill, like I said, from Mill Hill to Princeton to Harvard to, just all over the country.
Yeah. Brad, I want to just jump in here because you just said something that's at the heart of who I am. And it was when you pivoted, when the organization pivoted and the students, the youth started leading this, and it came up with the idea of the performance change.
Mm-hmm.
And the peer leading is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think enough people, and I'm trying to slow things down to have people who watch this to realize how important it is to have peer leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that in our community, Black and brown community, it's always been like, you got a white teacher, a white man, your gym teacher, all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
And after generations, I think people forget it. Like, oh, that's just so-and-so teacher, so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that teacher presents a total different vision to someone who's brown or Black, or maybe doesn't have English as their primary language.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a barrier that needs to get through there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay for adults to talk about it, but when the students are saying, hey, pump the brakes, I'm trying to tell you how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It behooves us to listen,
mm-hmm.
to sit back and listen, and then make those changes and those adjustments.
Right.
And this is exciting, man. I'm really thrilled that the Circus Squad is going in this direction, and I want to give you a mission moment. I come across so many people. I don't remember a lot of names, but I've been out recently and seen children who have gone through the Circus Squad program, mm-hmm. who recognize me and say hi.
Mm-hmm.
And I the Circus Squad, and they just kind of, and then move on. And to me, that's like that, grandfather, uncle kind of feeling. It's family. Yeah. And I don't think that enough people recognize the power that they have by supporting Step Right Up, whether it's a monetary donation, volunteering some time, what that does to organizations that have this and understand it. This is peer-led, we're focusing on this demographic, and we're providing exposure. Like you said, I want you to go back. Talk about some of the travel that you've done with the Circus Squad and where they've performed and whom they've performed for.
Well, let me first, to piggyback off what you said, with Change and Change 2, and what I didn't talk about is Change 2 is the different thing that we're doing with Step Right Up, because they're doing a part 2 to what they did last year with Change. And what I did not say, or what I did not elaborate on, is they scripted this show. They produced this show. They performed this show. They fought us on their ideas for this show. There were ideas that they wanted to implement during this show that we as a staff were just unsure about, because it went against, I don't say went against, but it was different than what we had ever done before. And it may have ruffled some feathers that, you're dealing with sponsors and donors still. If sponsors who majority of them don't look like us, so you don't know how it may pitch out or play over, but it was accepted widely. But these kids fought for their vision and executed their vision immaculately, and so much so that we've now incorporated it in our flagship annual fundraiser. So it is just going to go wide and wide, far and wide with its with the people that, you know, we again, we're inviting city council people, we are inviting, you know, the senator here, and we're inviting, you know, the mayor and all the, you know, all the Trenton public school officials and everybody we've invited to come to see this, to see these youth perform this show, you know, so it's magnifying their impact and their reach, you know, and it's just, and hopefully the support that we get from the city and the support that we get from our sponsors and donors, you know, and to have that, you know, they're leading this, they're doing this, this is their brainchild, you know, we're just providing a platform for them to execute it, but it's them, you know. And so, and this is what individuals are supporting when they donate to Trenton Circus Squad and fund Trenton Circus Squad, is empowering these youth to be the next leaders in their community and in the world, you know, and circus is just the platform that they learn how to do that.
Yeah, and it's a I don't want to say unusual, but it's an intriguing platform. Because again, most people don't think about circus in a teaching element. I think that most people just think about it as entertainment. You go to the circus, you see the circus, not what are the performers doing, what's the message, all those other things. So kudos to Trenton Circus Squad.
It's like a sport, man. When you play football, basketball, there's things that you have to learn. There's disciplines that you have to learn in order to be great at it. And this is no different. There are disciplines that these youth have to learn and get it in order to be great at what they want to do, you know. And so it's growing those internal things to be good externally, and those internal things you carry into the boardroom, you carry into college, you carry into your family, you know. It's just habits, that good habits that are built, hopefully built here, that translates for the rest of their life.
Great. Now, in the next couple of minutes, can you just tell folks a bit about the Step Right Up fundraiser, how they can engage, maybe some of the expectations when they log in to see the performance?
All right. Yeah. Step Right Up will take place on Saturday, October 16th at 7 p.m. It is virtual. We will have a link live October 15th, the day before. So you can just get on our website, TrentonCircusSquad.org. Again, that's TrentonCircusSquad.org. You can get on our website October 15th, or I should say October 16th at 7 p.m. Click on the link, sit back, watch the show. You can make any donations on the website. There's a link in the top corner, donations, click on there, you know, and just, you know, just send us whatever you can send us to help keep these doors open and this youth inspired. Like I said, we're gonna perform. They're gonna perform. I'm sorry, I'm behind the cameras. So they're gonna perform Change 2. We actually ran through it this summer. It's amazing. I can actually check the trailer for Change 2 on our website in our events page. Trenton Circus Squad event page is a trailer for it. Or you can get on our Facebook page and check the trailer for it on our Facebook page. But you can find us, Trenton Circus Squad, everywhere. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that, to keep up with the things that we're doing. And just if you know, like I said, we're at the Rolling Wireworks building. I didn't say that, 675 South Clinton Avenue. So it's down here at Food Bazaar, South Trenton. We love it here. Like I said, it's an amazing, you know, facility if you know the history of it, you know, and what it's been able to do for America and you know, American cities. But I'm not going to mention, I'm going to get into that. But yeah, 675 South Clinton Avenue, TrentonCircusSquad.org, and the fundraiser is October 16th at 7 p.m. And you can find a link, streaming link for it on our website the day of.
My man, spoken like a true entertainer. My man, Brad Marquis, and make sure I get this right, Director of Operations. Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, all good, man. All good, man.
Yeah, Brad Marquis Jackson, who is the Director of Operations for Trenton Circus Squad, a friend of mine, a wonderful human being, a great performer, father, and a husband. Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing what else you're going to do, brother, man. And just know that you got Trenton 365 support and whatever you need, okay?
I appreciate it. I just want a t-shirt, that's all.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure we get them too. Big shout out to Stelline. They're coming. They're coming. These are the prototypes.
All right.
But until then, folks, This is what civic engagement is all about, bringing together other human beings of diverse backgrounds and having conversations that are open and honest and fair with the idea of edifying and supporting and building the community for everyone. I'm Jacque Howard, and I encourage you to go over to the website, Trenton365.com, and check out all the things that I'm doing and all the wonderful people and organizations that I'm able to have come in my life. In closing, folks, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.